This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
If your fashion wish list lives rent-free in your brain, you need to be on Poshmark. With Poshmark, you're shopping millions of listings from thousands of closets, each curated by someone with their own style. Vintage finds, designer pieces, and everyday staples all in one place. Search for your favorites or let the discovery come to you. Poshmark makes it easy to find what you actually want to wear at prices that feel like a quiet win. Download the Poshmark app today and use code PODCAST10 when you sign up to get $10 off your first purchase.
A Swift Kick in the Ass, episode 166. Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms. Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran. Today's topic, why you're not wrong about being a failure. Pretty strong words this time, but as I look around me, everywhere I see people saying they can't do things. And worse than that, people telling me I can't do things. Well, I'm here to tell you that that has not played out very well for others when they tell me that I can't do things, because I tend to prove people wrong. I've been doing that all my life, whether it's from graduating college, getting 2 master's degrees, working all these years in my career. I live on my terms. That's what I do. That's why I'm here. And you also live on your terms. You control those, believe it or not. Many of the terms that you live by, you control. But you're telling yourself that you can't. I know I do. And I've been trying to break that habit and get out of that way of thinking. It's taken me a while, but that's one of the reasons why I bring this show, is to try to help people. And I hope this episode helps you. Because as I said, everywhere I look, I see people saying they can't do things. People are telling me I can't do things. It can't be done. There's negative emotion. Oh my gosh, the sky is falling. There's despair, there's sadness. There's all this negativity. And there's a submission, really, to people who recognize a need to change, or they see the benefit of it, and still they're not getting any traction. Now, granted, there are some really good reasons why people don't get traction, and trying to find out why, why you're not getting traction, that is a very personal and individual thing. I don't know what's holding you back. I'm not sure what your obstacle or your barriers are, but I will say that you should look deeper into these obstacles and barriers, because that is your solution. That will lead you. That is your solution. As you dive deeper into that thought, hopefully you find out what I mean. Anyhow, all my life, I have been proving people wrong. I was told I wasn't going to be able to get into a college because of my 1.09 grade point average. They almost kicked me out of the university, but I got my act together. I proved them wrong, and I actually ended up on the presidential honor roll. I had a paid residency that was part of my degree, which is in health science education. That's what my bachelor's is in, with an emphasis on community health. So it's kind of funny how I've been thinking about all of this for quite a while, and I'm happy to bring this to you. I've been doing it for over 10 years now. So, you are right that you can't do it. And you are right about being a failure. But that's not because you're a real failure. It's because you're telling yourself that you're a failure or that you can't do it. If you haven't done something, how can you tell yourself that you failed? Well, your subconscious listens to every word that you say, and it takes note of what you say and takes heart. And it's working just 24 hours a day, I think, in the background, that we're not consciously aware of it working. But it's amazing how this works. You put these thoughts in your mind, and they start to germinate, and they start to grow. Well, your growth is negative, and to curve that negative, you need to start thinking positively, and that you can do these things rather than that you can't. This is called a growth mindset, and it's basically understanding that we are going to learn from our mistakes, and that when we fail, in which we all fail, we don't always pass. Sometimes we fail. We have to learn. It's what we take away from that failure, and how we bring it forward, and how we keep moving. And a lot of people will, say that they'll term this moving forward, or we'll call it growth. And I see personal growth as starting with who that person is, and it actually grows from the inside out. Kind of like a shell, I think, that protects you from the world. Is kind of the way I think of it, because when you're not growing and you're stagnant, and it feels like the world is coming at you from all different angles, maybe things aren't going your way, maybe you're sick, maybe your friend is sick, maybe your friend is dying from brain cancer, maybe you're dying from brain cancer and dealing with the terminal illness, maybe you've lost your job. Something horrible is going on with your life. It's understandable that you're going to feel overwhelmed, and you're going to be run down. The world just chips away at our armor. And I remember back when my former co-host, Tommy, was alive and he was dying, it did feel that way. It really felt like the world was coming at me. And I was very negative then. How can you look at the world positively when things are going wrong? Well, let me say that these feelings come and go, and they have a place in our life, and it's really good to acknowledge them and help them pass through your life, rather than holding on to them. That's one of the things I've learned in the last probably 4 years, is to be able to, I can't control the thoughts that are in my head. I don't want to really do that. I find my brain very valuable. But it's what you do with the thoughts. These thoughts, they really carry no weight. unless you allow them to. And you do have to make a conscious decision to do that, to say, hey, you know what? I'm having this thought, but this is BS, and I don't want to think this way. And I'm making a choice to say, this is it. You know, you got to figure out how it serves you. And that's actually what I started asking myself way back when is, how do these feelings, how do these thoughts, how do they serve me? And if they serve me, please, I surrender to them and help me figure out how they serve me. But if they don't serve me, you gotta go. You gotta move on. And you blast through that. And it's so amazing as you learn how to do that. Once you start chipping away at it, it becomes easier and easier and easier. And I find myself now at a point in my life to where I feel younger because I have reconnected with parts of my former self. Back when I was a kid, I was very mechanical. I was always rebuilding my bike and painting it. I was building go-karts. I was working on the lawnmower. I had a couple of motorcycles. I had boats, little outboard engines and stuff. I was always doing something mechanical. But as I got older, I really didn't want to work on my car anymore. And as I made money, I just handed it off to mechanics. And I didn't want to be a shade tree mechanic, and I lost confidence in my ability to do mechanical things. Working on cars, I just thought I couldn't do it. Well, when you have a 58-year-old boat that no one wants to work on, you learn to do things yourself. So I took that on, and I was scared, quite honestly, to do a lot of it, but it didn't stop me. I stopped telling myself that I couldn't do it, and I told myself that I had to do it, and no one was going to come and save me. No one was going to come and learn this for me. No one was going to come and do the work. This was something I had to face up to and do. And what's really funny is that I handed this off to my boat to a mechanic for 5 years. So I've been really feeling that time and the loss of 5 years that I could have had with my kids on that boat had I had the courage to just do what I have to do. But I had the mechanic work on it, and the motor failed. I had to pull out the motor, and I was really fighting pulling the motor from the boat. But something in the back of my mind was telling me, go with it. You need to pull the motor. This is an important part of the process. This is an important part of the process. You need to complete this step. So I just went, and I just surrendered to it, and I did it. And pulling that motor was easy, honestly. I did it in about an hour and a half by myself. I have some pictures. I think I have them up on the site. If not, I'll put them up on my website. Take a look. You can see that what I'm saying is the absolute truth. And what do I have to gain from telling you lies anyway? So working this, was scary, but I learned that it wasn't so scary and I could do it. But there was a silver lining in that. And it turns out that I really did need to pull that motor and see what was behind it. Because behind the motor, up in the transom of the boat, which is the back part of the boat, that basically pushes your boat through the water, called the transom. I had some rot back there. And because, it's a fiberglass boat, but it has wood pieces in it, and it rotted. And boy, am I glad I saw that, because if I would have not saw that, I would have just kept on taking on water. I could have sunk my boat. It could have really ended badly. So it cost me 6 weeks of work, maybe more than that, because I'm still working on it. But I took it on, and I took out all the bad wood, and then I recut, and I figured out exactly what I needed to do. And that transom is back better and stronger than it ever was before. And I am too. It's really cool to go through this and I look at it and know that I did it. And I'm making it the way I want it. I'm doing this on my terms. Now, it's winter time here, and there's snow in Virginia. And it's cold, and you can't really work fiberglass in cold. So on days where it's too cold to do fiberglassing, I do other things that aren't so temperature, limited by the temperature. I go out there and I move my project an inch forward. I have to go a mile, but I'm an inch closer now. And I'm going to keep doing that. And right now, once I put that stern drive and mount that on the back of the boat, which I'm very close to, then the rest of it's going to be easy. I'm going to have my boat up and running again. I've already done my work on my motor. So even if you're not mechanical, hopefully you can appreciate that I broke this down into steps. I took something that I felt was very complex and very complicated and broke it down into the most simple parts and kind of tried to bucket it into what I have to do now to get to the end point. I have a vision in my head of what I want this to be. And that motivates me. And I'm passionate about it. And there are studies that have been done that talk about passion and determination and perseverance and grit. What I know I've been talking about grit, but I'm going to say what it is again. It's weathering the difficulties and the challenges of what you're trying to do. A little bit of grit, I find, goes a long way. One example of grit was telling myself that no one's going to come save me. I have to do this. There was a bolt that had rounded out, and it was underneath the motor. And it's in my engine bay in the boat. I can't roll up underneath it like a car. I have to reach down, and I have to use mirrors to actually see what I'm doing. I think I talked about the work on a previous episode, but I had to think outside of the box, and I needed to find a solution, and I did. And then I found out that there was a really easy way to do it, and I didn't have to go through all that crap. But that was part of the learning experience as well. But do I beat myself up over, I could have done it faster? No, because I got it done. And if I ever have to do it again in some other situation or circumstance, I'll know better because I'm taking that knowledge with me. I am going to keep trying to move forward, but again, I say move forward. It's really about growth. And there's another way of looking at this too, and that's going back to the vision. Creating a picture in your mind is very, very powerful. They say that, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? Well, when you bring a picture into your psyche, into your brain, and create a view, you can then take action to make that vision real. So it's almost like bringing together two pictures. There's the picture that you have in your head, and then you have the picture we call reality. And bringing them together, that is a skill. And every time that you attempt to do that, to make that vision a reality, to bring it a little bit closer to the real thing, to make what you want to be real, trying to bring that together, it will sharpen your skills. It will bring your sight into focus. You will much easier know what to do, and you'll be able to bucket the work that you need to do to get you where you need to go. I find that what I've learned working on my boat has brought confidence that have been applied in other parts of my life. I think my work, my day job is much better now because I'm much more focused. I'm much more confident. I know what I need to do, and I take action to do it, and I solve problems. And people are recognizing that. I've learned this in martial arts. And martial arts it's an art. It's an art form. It's a practice. It's something a practice is something that you do on a daily basis. I play guitar. This is another great example. Guitar and martial arts are practices that we do. Practice is an action. It makes real the thought, really. You don't just start off being a virtuoso and playing guitar. You have to practice. You have to teach your fingers to connect really with your brain so that, you can, they say, master the fretboard, learn where all the notes are and everything like that. But if you can't apply it, then it's really useless. Same with martial arts is you're continuously trying to improve your form, your technique. You're trying to leverage your physicality against, the way it could be. You have to work with what you have, and we all have limits. And in fact, the Grandmaster was just saying a few days ago, he says, really, there are just 2 or 3 moves that we can master because of our physical limits. And the challenge is finding those and then mastering them. That's what martial arts is all about. It's about the growth mentality. Not telling yourself that you're failing all the time and that you can't do it. Just go out there and do it. And it's just so amazing how this really opens up your life. Now, people will talk a good game about doing this or doing that. We all know we don't all know. We can learn what is needed and good things to do. We can understand the benefit. We can learn about the benefits, like of a good diet, for instance. We can know what we're supposed to eat, but do we really do it? If you're not doing it, and you're staying in this one place, we use a lot of descriptive words for actions, right? Moving forward, we're growing, we're bringing things into vision. Well, you're also stagnating. You're also closing yourself off to things that you need to do. You're not learning. You've halted growth. Again, negative as well as positive words. It makes a difference. it's really reframing too. It's also how you frame your view of life and your perspective. Now, I hated when my dad said this, but I have to say that it's true that we live in a NASCAR nation, and people just love to watch that car go round the track, left turn, left turn, left turn. It's only fun when there's a wreck, and you're getting drunk the whole time, and it's kind of fun. I've gone, but it's dumb and it's stupid in a lot of levels. I'm sure I'll take, I like it too, but let's just call it for what it is. Most people are stupid. But we can act stupid, but not be stupid also at the same time. You don't have to be stupid. You can act stupid, you can be stupid, but that doesn't mean that you are stupid. Hopefully that makes sense. If you're always seeking answers, you're going to do stupid things. You're going to feel stuck at certain times because you're not growing. And you're going to, it's very frustrating when you're trying to break out of something. You recognize that you're not growing. You recognize that you're stagnating, and you just want to pull your hair out because you don't know what the hell to do. Take a deep breath. Know that other people have been there. This will pass. Both the positive and the negative aspects of life, it's temporary. It comes and it goes. It passes through. This is also about, going back to the movement, the action verbs we've been using. It's all about moving. Keep moving. Never slow down, never grow old, right? Tom Petty said that. Keep moving. I know you have what it takes. If you're passionate about something, if you recognize the need to change, and you really want to change, I know you can do it. You just have to be determined and have some grit, and you will be successful. Just because we fail or we do something stupid doesn't make you stupid, necessarily. It does mean that you have some hurdles that you may or may not see. I know for sure that I've had hurdles that I did not recognize. I had barriers that I did not see. And those obstacles, those barriers, I've said this before, maybe in this episode, that these obstacles or barriers are the solution. In that solution, your solution is right there in front of you, but you are not seeing it. But when you start to embrace it, and that's to say, hey, you know what? This is an obstacle. This is a barrier. I can't get through it. It's not going to change. I just got to say, you know what? Fuck it. This is it. Give it a big hug. It's there, and you're going to have to love it. It really sucked when Tommy died. He was the one who taught me about embracing the bad things in life, embracing the suck. Sometimes you got to do it. And through that, you pass through that into another part of your life that it's going to open things up and in some ways bring you back to right where you need to be. It's so funny because we're not really different. We're the same person that we started out with in the beginning. That never changes. You're the same person. But we have these different experiences, and it does change us in different ways, but we're not different people. We're the same person who's just gone through an experience and have that experience to help them guide their next steps and get through life. Terrible things do happen. And so I'm not advocating it. I'm just acknowledging that terrible things happen. We try to prevent them from happening, and regardless, they happen. When they do, you can play the victim and say, woe is me, and this can't be changed, and have that victim mentality. Or you can have one of growth and say, you know what? That experience that I went through, I never want to go through that again. How am I going to make that happen? What can I do? And what can I do to get back on the road that I want to be on? Because right now, where I am, I don't want to be. God, I wish I would have had a podcast like this a long time ago when I was younger. And I was feeling so frustrated by things. And I saw the frustration in my coworkers. Younger, maybe mid-30s, have a family, married, kind of starting out and getting involved in your career and kind of thinking, is this all there is? And just kind of feeling stagnating. I was in health and wellness, so for me it was kind of a natural move. Health education, health promotion programs. I have a degree in that, but I also have a degree in business and risk management and insurance, and I went on and continued my education. I continue to grow. Maybe one day I'll go back and get a doctorate. Who knows? Not right now. So, I'm going to start wrapping up. And before I'm going to end with a joke this time. Challenging situations that change your life are really no laughing matter. And we can all, act stupidly, and we can be stupid, and we can have terrible things happen to us. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's just good to laugh at yourself. So here's an old joke, and it takes place in a church, and the preacher's up at the altar, and he's speaking to his congregation, and he's saying, people, this church is like a person. It's like a little baby. This baby needs to grow. And it needs to start crawling. And the congregation says, crawl, Reverend, crawl. He says, this baby is crawling, but it doesn't want to just crawl. It wants to get up. It wants to walk. It wants to see what's going on. And the congregation is just filled with this emotion and this passion and saying, walk. Preacher, walk. And he says, but walking, it's so slow. It gets boring. He says, I want this church to run. And the church cries out, run, preacher, run. And the preacher says, but in order for this church to run, I need money. Lots of money. And that's when the congregation says, crawl, preacher, crawl. Sometimes you just have to laugh. This is a Swift Kick in the Ass podcast. It's all about creating positive change in your life. If you felt there was benefit in this podcast, please tell your friends about it. Please check out my site. Got the latest episode there. I'm putting some blogs out there. I am looking for input, and I'm looking for people who have good, positive stories to tell. As you can see, I'm starting to do more interviews. I'm in the process of creating a landing page that will invite you to kind of tell your story. I'm not going to be able to tell everybody's story, but I do want to start doing more interviews to show you that there are people who, most would just seem so ordinary and everyday, but they're doing extraordinary things. I love it. I love that about life, and it encourages me to do my own thing and to live life on my terms and to make it the best I possibly can. That's what I want for you. So I'm going to wrap it up. Until the next time, this is John Curran. This is Swift Kick in the Ass. Peace. This marks the end of another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass, placing it directly in the can. As much as I like to talk, even I have my limits. It's time to go. Catch me on the next show. For better or worse, whether you like us or not, please leave comments wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. Visit our home on the interweb. I think you can leave me a voicemail there. You can also email me at john@aswiftkickintheass.com. It's been my extreme pleasure. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope you got your ass moving. Until then, until the next time, I'm out of here. Peace.